hear you're ready for your dose of reality.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Dr. Quack Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Quack.
And I'm the important one, Mr. Mayhem, but we got a special request this time. Our friend Jeff from Louisiana said, it's SummerSlam time. Let's review a SummerSlam episode.
That's right, and we got a special one here for you. Normally, we like to go back to the 80s and 90s, but today, we're going to 2006 SummerSlam.
That's right. It came to us from Boston, Massachusetts, and at this time there was Raw, SmackDown, and ECW. So we got all three of the shows on this one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we got all three of them. The good, the bad, and the ugly on commentary. We've got Jerry Lawler and Jim Ross representing Raw. We have Michael Cole and John Bradshaw Layfield representing SmackDown.
And we got Joey Styles and Curly representing ECW.
Oh, good old Taz. Good God. Yes, the good, bad, and the ugly. The funny thing is, ECW only had one match.
Yeah, one match, and they still sat out there the whole time because, they were hoping to learn something, and they didn't. So
they did not. Oh, I do not want to forget our Spanish announce team, Carlos Cabrera and Hugo Sadovic.
Their table has been made of Teflon. They don't get it destroyed anymore. That's what the ECW table was for. Good job on you, Spanish announce team.
That's right. We'll get into that. We had Lillian Garcia doing the ring announcing for Raw. Tony Chimmel over there for SmackDown and Justin Roberts for ECW.
I'm sure he'd like to be called Kimmel, but that's okay.
Kimmel, Chimmel.
Same thing. They're all decent. Lillian Garcia did get a little full of herself later on. Justin Roberts, I actually enjoyed him the best of the three, but they all did a good job.
You had a boatload of referees, which I'm not going into, but Charles Robinson and Jack Doan are the two most notable on this.
Nick Patrick, too, was in
this. Oh, yeah, Nick Patrick. Yes, we'll get him in there as well. Let's go to the opening match here. Chavo Guerrero against Rey Mysterio.
That's right. We started off with a SmackDown show here on the first match. And this is the further exploitation of the name Eddie Guerrero in the match between Chavo Guerrero and Rey Mysterio Jr.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really solid match. It was a great opener, in my opinion. I love the storyline with, Vicky Guerrero coming out there, not wanting them to fight. I gave it 2.5 stars.
Wow, I actually went higher. I went 3 stars on this match. They had good chemistry. Rey Mysterio, I don't like the little mask thing with the thing underneath, the little clip. I never have because there's one part where his mask got knocked off as he's rolling out of the ring and you can see him grab it and trying to hide himself the best he can. I agree with you, the whole thing about Vicky Guerrero coming out trying to play, peacekeeper. But the one thing that will annoy me, so we're going to bring up a little bit of history. JBL brought up how they were fighting, the only person that should use the frog splash is Chavo Guerrero because he's a Guerrero. The problem is Eddie Guerrero didn't invent the frog splash. Art Barr did and taught it to Eddie Guerrero before he died. So, that's just to point out a little bit of history.
And it's still used today by so many people.
That's right.
Yeah, moving on to the next match here. ECW's match. The championship ECW title. Big Show taking on Sabu.
All right. So, we do get a very tame Joey Styles and a almost credible Curly. This match, though, should have been sponsored by Pam. The stuff was sliding all over the place. Sabu several times had to stop in the middle of his spots to move things around to reset things. I don't think the Big Show and Sabu had a lot of chemistry. This was really kind of okay. It wasn't thrilling. That was kind of the way the WWE CW was treated. It was okay, not thrilling. I did go 2.25 stars. At least there was no major faults with this match. It was just Pam was all over the stuff and everything slid everywhere.
I went 2.75. I actually liked this a little bit. I mean, I love the carnage in there. Yes, they had a lot of sloppy mistakes, but this was ECW. This was known for sloppy mistakes, but this was the watered-down ECW over there. Yeah, it just had its issues. But, I mean, it was the best, funniest part to me was Big Show sitting on a knee while Sabu comes across from a chair to give him a bulldog, and he's already falling into the table. I'm like, could you telegraph that any better?
He could have. The thing I liked is Big Show tried to look tough with the red under his eyes, making it look like he's coming straight off the party scene.
At least he gagged a little. He got a little bit of blood there. I was a little happy on that. You know,
fair. We got a minuscule of blood for the ECW, the most extreme brand of all.
Right. I mean, come on, man. This was the beginning of the end for ECW, and this match kind of proved it there. Yeah. Also, the beginning of the end for Sabu. He did not wrestle much longer for the company. But, yeah, now we're going to move on here to the Diva Search winner, because we got to throw this in there, right? In between matches, we had the Diva Search winner, Layla. They were showing her big victory, winning her $250,000 check. And then she walked in the women's locker room with such likes as Ashley Massaro, Trish Stratus, Tori Wilson, Jillian Hall, Candice Michelle, and others, and thought that she could just walk in that locker room.
She didn't just act like she could walk into that locker room. Trish Stratus set that up. It was obviously a schmoz event trying to rib her, for lack of a better terms. Layla was actually very talented. She spent a long time there. Of all the winners of the Tough Enough / Diva Search, she lasted longer than anybody else. So good on her. She was actually good. She was talented. She was saddled with, what was that? Kelly group, the dance group, where she was the only one that could dance.
Yes.
She was the replacement for I can't even talk today. This match messed me up. This whole Diva Search thing messed me up so bad. Fandango, thank you. She was the replacement for Fandango.
Yeah, it's got to breathe the A's on that. I laughed because they threw her in the shower, and of course she got all wet, and they're all smacking her ass, and I'm laughing at this whole portion of this.
It really felt like it was a sorority party. This was starting at the end of the women exploitation divas era.
Yeah, the Divas Revolution. That was pretty much what this was. Thank God we got to the women's many years later, but yeah, this was around the start of it.
So it didn't need to exist, but good job on Layla for lasting longer and being the best representation of the Divas Revolution Search.
Yeah. Moving on here. Hulk Hogan against Randy Orton. Young Randy Orton here, by the way. He won the world title back in 2004. You know, after that, he really didn't get too many other opportunities. I think he won it one other time. But he had a big match here with the immortal Hulk Hogan, who had been wrestling since 70-something.
77.
Yes.
All right. So
older than this movie.
We got the King and JR on this one because this was obviously a Raw show. Match was okay. We've on many occasions voiced how Hulk Hogan has hurt the business. Hulk Hogan went over. He didn't need to go over. It hurt Randy Orton a little bit. Hogan's offense was a little too long in the beginning, and the match was really kind of silly. It was better than the 2005 match, although the 2005 match with Shawn Michaels was much longer and much more entertaining. It wasn't as good. So I did go 2.25 stars on this. It didn't really need to exist.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I went 2.5. But I'm going to tell you what, the match was okay, but I'm getting my 2-finger salute right there to Hulk Hogan because it's the third match. Why do you need to have 15 minutes of celebration? You look like the guy who won last place and was biting his metal when everything else was better. Good God, Hogan, I get it. You were the thing of the 80s and 90s, the NWO, we give you credit. But it's 2006. Can you put over Randy Orton? Jeez, and thank God this did not affect his career as the legend killer because he beat so many old legends. And I want to talk about the next match here.
Before that, I'm not going to bother to spray Hulk Hogan. I think you've covered everything that needs to be said. I'm not even going to give Hulk Hogan the credit to have that title still sitting up.
Damn. And that's the way it kind of feels about it. You know, but I'm going to tell you, see, when you're the old vet, you should learn to be able to pass that torch. And I'm going to show you something here in the next match here. Ric Flair versus Mick Foley in an I Quit match. Both these guys were legends, but they went out there and they did it strong. This match here was phenomenal. And this gets my quick attack.
This match was very, very good. This was another Raw. This was the King and JR. Now, Hulk Hogan didn't need to win this match or his match with Randy Orton. Conversely, Ric Flair did not need to win with Mick Foley, but the way they put the match together, it made sense. This was a bloodbath. Ric Flair put on great color, some awesome color on the night. Some of the best, in fact, the best color of the night came from the Raw brand.
Yes.
Brutal. The anticlimactic ending a little bit. They had Melina, who I think she was managing kind of
Mick Foley, yes.
Mick Foley, kind of, and she came out and said Mick Foley was knocked out. So Ric Flair said, no, that wasn't. He didn't say I quit. So the match kept going. So then Melina came down and threw in the towel, and Ric Flair said, Mick Foley didn't say I quit. So then he was going to hit Melina with the barbed wire bat, and Mick Foley said I quit. So it made sense in the broad sense. And these two guys who were also well over the hill looked a whole lot better than the guy who carried wrestling on his back. I guess carrying wrestling on his back in the 80s broke it. He can't work anymore.
Exactly. I mean, I look at Ric Flair matches where he had matches with Sting and Steamboat and many others. But this match here really defined him, in my opinion, in 2006 for his age to be going out there in this hardcore style of match, losing that much blood, and still going strong. It was definitely probably the match of the night. If you have not seen this, I suggest you go watch this match.
I gave it 3.5.
I gave it 3.75.
Nice.
I thought this was truly one of the best Flair matches I've ever seen, and almost one of the top Foley matches I've ever seen.
I would rank this right up there with the Ric Flair Terry Funk I Quit match. The brutality was there, and this is 26 years apart. The brutality was still there.
Oh yeah, no doubt there. Moving along here, we had the World Heavyweight Championship. We had Batista against King Booker.
Yes, I'm a big King Booker fan.
I am too.
Huge King Booker fan. We were kind of talking about this, and leave us a comment if we got it wrong. I can't think of anybody who had more world title wins as a king in the WWF King of the Ring than King Booker.
Yeah.
Stone Cold was an Intercontinental Champion. He was not. He never won the World Champion as the King.
Same as Owen Hart.
Same as Owen Hart. Same as Triple H.
Yeah. I mean, he really shined to the moment with this. I mean, the gimmick was great. Batista came out there being Batista.
Yeah, he wasn't great, but he wasn't horrible. This is another one of those that was not thrilling, but great. You could feel the crowd really lost interest in this match. I don't know if this was booked right after that tremendous I Quit match, or the two guys who really didn't have a lot of great chemistry together, and I don't know if that hurt the match, but all in all, this match was not really thrilling.
Yeah, it was bland. I gave it 2.5 stars. I felt it was real weak for a world title match, but it had to follow Foley and Flair.
Yeah, I gave it 2.5 stars. To give you an idea, a more tangible about how much the crowd cared about this match, Batista did a jackhammer and he started a Goldberg chant.
It was that bad. Of course, Booker T won by disqualification on this. I mean, it was an okay match. It's nothing memorable. You could fast forward through this if you watch this on the Cock or wherever else you watch it.
King Booker, the entrance of King Booker was the best part of this match.
Probably so. Moving along here, DX, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, going against Vince and Shane McMahon.
Yeah, this was, I loved this. I didn't catch all of this. This is the time I wasn't watching a lot of wrestling because when you are a wrestler, you find you don't watch a lot of it. So I caught some of the pre-show up to this, the pre-seasons up to this, and this match was a lot of fun. Lots of pre-match activity that they really made sense in the storyline as far as sending out the Spirit Squad and they get shit canned. And then you send out Kennedy and
William
Regal and Finley, and they get beat down, but they do a better job. And then you send out the Big Show, and they all kind of beat them all down, and then Vince and Shane come in there and have some fun.
I love the part where they decided to imitate all the great tag teams.
Yeah.
Demolition, the Hart Foundation, and doing the Doomsday Device. That was just priceless to me. I'm like, really? You know, going like this with the Hart Foundation, it was priceless.
Yeah, I don't know if this was the blow-off. It should have been the way this match ended. It should have been the blow-off between the McMahons and DX, which, by the way, kayfabe word of the day, the blow-off. The blow-off is the last big match of a feud or a storyline that they're specifically telling at that period of time. They may come back and work each other down the road, but the last match to break them apart for a while is called the blow-off. Kayfabe word of the day.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I gave this match 3.5 stars. It had a lot of glitz and glamour with it. It had a lot of great spots, a lot of people fighting in it. In the end, of course, Triple H and Shawn Michaels DX, they came out and they won this match.
Yep, I went 3.5 stars, but with the King and Jerry Lawler also calling this match, They added something extra to it. I bumped it up to 4 stars, especially with Umaga coming down and hitting the Samoan spike, the Asiatic spike, the Nigerian nail, all the other names that stupid thumb move has. And they still came out, DX still came out on top. I bumped it all the way up to 4 stars.
Yeah, I mean, overall, it was a great match there. Let's move on here to the main event. We had Edge with Lita taking on John Cena.
This match, Edge, the rated R superstar, I enjoyed him as the tag team Edge. I enjoyed him with the Edge and Christian when they became their own bombastic and tremendous personalities. I liked him when he broke away and became a single star. John Cena actually surprised me here. He's always been big match John, but I think the ending of this and the storyline with this went really, really well. There was a lot of good back and forth.
Oh, in this match, if Edge got disqualified, he would lose the title.
And that's what I was just about to go into, was they built a good, strong story, and then Edge trying to stop Lita from continually interfering was great. I think that made Lita look a little bad because Lita was a worker and had been a worker for many years. She understood this. It would have been better if it would have been somebody who didn't understand wrestling. But Amy Dumas or Lita had been in wrestling in about 12 years at this point, so she should have understood. But all in all, it was still a great storyline. And then the dirty win with he can't get disqualified, so he won dirty with the brass knuckles. It was a great match. I also gave this match 4 stars.
Wow. I went 3.5. I thought it was really good. It didn't feel like the Flair Foley. That was a top match for me, but it was pretty close. I love the way it all went down. I mean, this pay-per-view here I thought was great in significance here because you see a lot of guys that were on this show going to be on this year's WrestleMania. I mean, I'm sorry, SummerSlam. You're going to be on this year's SummerSlam. I mean, you're talking about John Cena. He's going to be there. Edge is going to be there.
Mysterio probably will be there.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're going to have some guys here from, 15 years later now?
Yeah. Randy Orton will probably be on there.
Yeah, Randy Orton will be on there. I mean, it's just incredible just how people still go from wrestling for 15 years after they've had a career for 15 years, some of them.
That's true. I mean, look at Ric Flair. Started wrestling in 1972.
Yeah.
He wrestled his last match only like 2 or 3 years ago.
And now currently active. And we're not going to mention what brand that is because we're going to move forward. But that's our show, folks.
So we want to thank you, Jeff, in Louisiana. It was a great idea doing a SummerSlam right before SummerSlam. By the way, we're going to be reviewing SummerSlam, the preview, with Randy Hogan.
That's right.
So if you're watching this afterwards, flip back to the Dr. Quack podcast. We're going to do that live, so you can flip back through the Dr. Quack podcast and see what we thought of SummerSlam 2021 and see if we were right, because we'll also review it.
That's right. This Wednesday, tune in.
I'm your host, Dr. Quack.
And I'm the important one, Mr. Mayhem, saying, see us next time. Like, share, subscribe.
And we'll see you at the Clash.